Appreciated. So my name's Tim Skipper. I'm the founding director of a recruitment company called Totem. We focus on recruiting across all of the business services functions into professional services firms. As one would probably assume, COVID-19 has had a dramatic effect on recruitment activity. Many roles have been cancelled or put on hold for the time being, with an exception being made for what is being termed as a business critical role. That said, for those firms who've implemented a recruitment freeze, of which there are many now, and many of the firms have announced it this week, we're still seeing a handful of new positions emerging for roles which are seen as vital in spite of the pandemic. One thing we have not seen, and it may be a surprise, is firms reneging on offers that had been formally accepted. And we've had offers made and accepted in the last 2 weeks, albeit less than we would have expected at this time of year in normal circumstances. The starters for April and for May are now being onboarded virtually, and our clients are accepting that whilst things may not be perfect in this regard, interviews can take place, offers can be made, and candidates can and are starting new jobs, even if they're not physically turning up on the first day. The landscape looks uncertain presently, but having been through similar-ish situations before, we do expect a new norm to be established and that recruitment activity will start to tick over again gently. At the moment, the issue, as we know, is that no one quite knows when that will be. Moving to the HR challenges of our clients. In the last fortnight, my colleague Laura McNair, who heads up our HR recruitment business, has facilitated 2 sessions with around 20 HR leaders on Zoom. The first observation has been just how collaborative everyone has been during this challenging time. The willingness to share information and to help one another, and heartwarming in equal measure. The sense of togetherness on the calls has been palpable. One firm has used the phrase best efforts. A lot of things may not be as slick as one would like, but there seems to be a high degree of tolerance due to the gravity of this situation. This best efforts approach also covers tolerance of the challenges associated with things like home working and childcare. The key issues and priorities which have emerged from these 2 sessions, which were with law firms, I should add, have been as follows. Firstly, unsurprisingly, furloughing. Initially trying to get their heads around the concept as well as the practicalities. In the initial call 2 weeks ago, there was little clarity from the government. Since then, firms have decided on their approach to furloughing. And a snap survey we completed this week gave the following insight. Most firms are furloughing some employees, although some are not. There are a handful of firms who've decided not to yet. Just under 80% of firms have not furloughed lawyers, with just over 20% considering furloughing fee earners. The suggestion seems to be that non-qualified staff and paralegals will be in the first cohort. Around half of the respondents are considering furloughing lawyers, with the remainder not thinking about doing that at the moment. The second thing relates to salary reviews and salary cuts. Around half of the respondents are considering salary reductions, with some looking to achieve this via a reduction in the working week. Going to 4 days is the most obvious thing. Only a small handful, less than 15%, have actually implemented salary reductions so far. A number of firms are looking at freezing salaries this year, unsurprisingly, and there is also a discussion on whether bonuses will be paid, albeit because these relate to last year's performance, it seems that many are likely to pay out. Onboarding is another challenge. Firms seem to be managing this. They're admitting that it's not perfect, but it's working okay. For a handful, they're saying that it's been actually rather slick and even better than if people were physically in the office. So much care and attention has been put into it. All training, obviously, is online. The fourth area relates to remote contact and well-being, and this is of massive concern, and a huge amount of effort is clearly going into this, with regular contact from line managers. Managers in all of our networks across all the different functions, not just HR, are saying that this is one of their real challenges, that it's a different way of working for many in their teams, and although they have a duty of care, they are also having to spend time managing and ensuring that individuals are disciplined and appropriately utilised and motivated. Some teams are very, very busy. All have reiterated the importance of the social side, and we've heard of some very novel things going on that front, although a couple of them said Zoom drinks was sort of slightly going out of fashion. Extra links have been added to intranets for health and well-being, including fact sheets and links to useful resources. This has all been updated, plus the use of the firm's mental health first aiders. These sessions have touched on a whole range of areas. Other things include firms' approach to NHS volunteers. How do they handle that? How do they deal with holiday entitlement that's occurring during the lockdown period? One thing that's beyond any doubt is that the HR practitioners are extremely busy and right at the heart, helping their firms through this intensely challenging period.